All right, what's up, everyone? Thanks for joining for another community AMA. So I went to the doctor yesterday, and I had like some stomach issue, but I just got some antibiotics, so I think it's nothing serious, thankfully, but not feeling super great at the moment. But I think my mind is clear for the most part, so yeah, I think I should be good. Anyways, uh, I guess I'll just get right into the questions. So we have a question from Promino. It says, tell us more about the new product. Anything you can tell us? Timeline, source of funds, comparable product in Ethereum, etc. Yeah, so there's still not a whole lot we can share about the product. Let's see. Timeline, very hard to say. Um, if I had to guess, maybe like the very first iteration on like testnet could be within a month or so. But yeah, I'm not super sure on that. Um, source of funds, I mean, it's basically the same as Lifinity. And I mean, that's the main reason it will be connected to Lifinity because we're developing using funding from Lifinity. So yeah, like it wouldn't be fair if we just like built something else and like Lifinity, the Lifinity community got nothing from that. That wouldn't be fair, of course. So it will be connected for sure. And a comparable product in in Ethereum. If I said that, it's basically giving away what we're building. So yeah, I think that's about it for now. Um, right now we've basically, I guess I can say that we've figured out the design of this protocol, and so we're in the middle of coding it up, both the smart contract as well as the front end, and mostly done with like the brand design. And let's see, we are thinking about um, beyond or like kind of further into the future as well. So like tokenomics, if we decide that it will have a token, which is not guaranteed, uh, it will have a token if there's a good reason for it to have a token. Excuse me. It'll have a token if there's a good reason for it to have a token, and that's yet to be seen. Typically, in crypto, tokens are amazing for bootstrapping a community and usage of the protocol. So it kind of depends on how much people will use the protocol if it's just a protocol with like no token. So for example, take Camino, for example. Camino has no token, but it has a ton of usage just because people consider it to be a very useful product for them. So uh, yeah, I mean, like that's the ideal case, right? Where it's like the thing you build is just so useful that people want to use it, aside from any token considerations. Same for like Jupiter, for example. Jupiter's super useful. Um, without a token this whole time. Although there's been murmurs of some type of Jupiter token coming up for Breakpoint. We'll see what happens. I have no insider knowledge, just to be clear. But anyways, yeah. So that's basically about all I can talk about regarding the new product at this stage. Um, but yeah, things will be revealed in time. Um, yeah, it's just we don't think it's wise to reveal everything as early as possible. Um, yeah, hope that's helpful. All right. J Sweats says, didn't even realize there's an AMA today. Got a whole day of work. That's unfortunate. But of course, you can always go back and listen. But get your questions in now, I guess. Take some rest. Appreciate that. Uh, yeah, have been taking these medications, these antibiotics. I think it's helping. It's kind of hard to tell. Let's see. He says, so it could be Lifinity for both projects. Yeah, so just like a theoretical scenario, back to what I was saying earlier, where suppose we build a protocol that's just like really useful and it helps generate yield for users of the protocol. And at the same time, we as a protocol are able to take a protocol fee. Um, if we have, zero trouble reaching like a maximum point of adoption, whatever that is, then yeah, there's probably like no need for a token per se. And then the revenue should just accrue to VE Lifinity holders. I think that makes the most sense. It's just the most straightforward. Um, yeah, so that's like the ideal case, but definitely like no guarantee that that's how things will turn out. But we can hope, and we'll do our best to make that happen. But yeah, if we do end up making a new token, it's not like that's a bad thing. Obviously, tokens have come with certain advantages, or they're very useful for certain things. But yeah, the things they're useful for tend to be unnecessary if people are going to use your protocol regardless. It's usually like when you want to incentivize people to use your protocol, um, or you need to raise funds or things like that, tokens can be very useful. JSet says, will you give out deets on your OnlyFans? I'll subscribe. Oh man. Is it time? Is it time for me to start my OnlyFans career? I'm pivoting. Had enough of Lifinity. It's time to reveal my nudes. That's how you bootstrap liquidity. I think there's a pun in there somewhere. Bootstrap. Get with the times. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I'm attractive enough. I'm also a male, which I believe is a much more difficult market. So we only need your feet. Oh, I can do feet. Although, I've never considered my feet to be particularly good looking. I have like a pretty fat um my the toe. Wait, the thumb on my toe, like the biggest toe, call it the thumb, thumb toe. Like that one's just like really fat. So, and like people who have like very um, what's the word? Dexteritas? That's not it. Dexterity. People who have a lot of dexterity in their toes tend to have beautiful feet, or I feel like they have like slender toes, kind of. Uh, but yeah, mine are not that, unfortunately. Thumb toe, what the fuck? Don't call it that. What is it called? Is it just thumb on your feet? Big toe? Ah, yeah. That sounds right. Big toe. Yeah. Yes, I have a big toe. So unfortunately, my OnlyFans career is not looking bright. Might be a niche market. Yeah, yeah. I'm, I'm sure it is. It's like you probably have to get really creative. It's like, what do you do with the toes? It's like what crazy scenarios can you dream up with the toe? Dip your toe. Yeah, like probably literally dip your toe in some chocolate, stuff like that. I have no idea. You know what they say about I mean, I don't know if like foot stuff is considered porn, but you know how like people say um any type of porn you can think up when you look for it online, it exists already. So yeah, sure there's like dipping your toe in chocolate type of stuff. Anyways, what the fuck am I talking about? Going on and on about OnlyFans and feet. Um, yeah. As, as far as like protocol updates go, I think there's not much to update on. We're mostly focused on building this new protocol. Let's call it Project S. just, just, just so it's more convenient to refer to. Henceforth, we shall call it Project S. Um, yeah, that's mainly the focus. We did. We may have found a way to like this is very like back end stuff, so probably like not super interesting to most people, but we may have found a way to more effectively update our Oracle. Previously, we were having to pay a bunch of priority fees, but even that didn't always um, help land our transactions in time. But yeah, we realized we may be what was it? Reading from the Pyth Oracle in the same transaction as we were updating our own Oracle. And reading state also can become a hotspot, not just writing to state. So if like everyone's trying to read from the Pyth Oracle, for example, and in the same transaction, we're trying to not just read from the same thing, but also update our own Oracle, then that can get um, congested in terms of like the local fee markets on Solana. So like reading and updating the Pyth Oracle has its own local market. So yeah. Anyway, so I figured out that we might be doing that. So uh, kind of reworking that so we can hopefully get more reliable updates for our own Oracle, which will be good for us. The faster we can update our Oracle, the more trades we can facilitate. So that's one thing, but yeah, I think that's about it for like protocol updates. Happy to answer any more questions. Hopefully not OnlyFans related. Welcome everyone in the AMA. Oh, Cryptic, what's up? Cryptic has been working on revitalizing SaberDAO. All right, let's see what do we have. Lanfust13 asks, what will happen to the staked flares? Yeah, so just for context for everyone else, we had our staking and locking program that ran for a year, and that ended in this year's May. But there's still about 1,000 flares that are still on in the vaults, either staked or locked, just waiting to be withdrawn. So we've been telling people to please withdraw, but there's still 1,000 there, which is 10%, more than 10%. So some people just aren't paying attention or they forgot about them. Hard to know what the case is. So what will happen to them? What we've said so far is that we're going to shut down the website where you can unstake your flares at the end of this year. So people will have had over 6 months time to withdraw, which is certainly plenty. And then we'll open source the code for the site so that if people want to unstake themselves, they can do that themselves later. But we won't be providing support for it. But yeah, so the question is like, are we as a DAO going to do anything about those flares? I guess there's a few options, and I'd have to check with the devs on what exactly is possible because I'm not sure which things are and aren't. But so yeah, just to run through some examples of things we could do. One is just do nothing, just let it be. Another is we could burn all the flares after some time, say like from the 1 year anniversary of when the staking and locking program ended. Just burn everything in it. Something like that. Obviously, it's good for all the other flare holders who did withdraw, basically the people who are paying attention, I guess. On the other hand, that does have like some risk of like so on a on the level of the team, basically me, I'll have to deal with like, the individuals who come into our Discord and are like, where the fuck are my flares? And then explain, and you know, it's definitely going to outrage some people. And the worst case scenario for that is that some of those people go to Twitter and write a whole thread about that, and like it's not hard for me to imagine that a lot of people would empathize with those who got their flares burned, because it feels like it's not exactly like it's like we did something with their assets, which in crypto it's like you're not supposed to be able to do that. Even though obviously like if the design of our vaults does allow that, which again I need to check with our devs. I don't even know if this is possible. But if we could do something like that, it doesn't even have to be burn. It could be like we lock the vault forever and throw away the keys or something. I don't know. But yeah, like we could get huge flack on Twitter, and it could sully the name of flares as a whole. So definitely something to keep in mind. Like it's not just pure upside. And then like a third option I've thought about is, and I think this would be cleaner, is if we do a redemption event where we're like, okay, flares get to claim their share of the treasury, mostly VE Lifinity. If we did that, and then we say, if you want to claim, you have within this time frame to claim. And then if people don't claim within that time frame, then we have leftover VE Lifinity. And there will probably be flare holders who never claim. There's 1,000 people, or not necessarily, there's 1,000 flares in the vault. And I think it's reasonable to think that some of them are just never going to be withdrawn ever. And so it would be wasteful to just have that VE Lifinity stuck with us forever. It's like a wasted asset. So in that case, I think it does make sense, much more than like the burning thing, where after a certain time period for claiming redemptions has passed, then you take the leftover VE Lifinity and then send that proportionally to everyone who did claim. So basically, everyone else gets a bonus for having claimed. They get their proportional share of the VE Lifinity of those who did not claim. And I think that's harder to argue against as being unfair, because they can still claim their flare, right? It's just that their flare becomes worthless. And that's kind of their responsibility. So we never actually take away their asset. And that's why it's kind of harder to argue against. But I don't think people, at least right now, aren't really looking for a redemption. So it's kind of a hypothetical thing. Lon Fust says, why not a holders distribution? Not 100% sure what you mean by this. Like, do you mean distribute the flares to other holders? Because there's no way to do that proportionally because you can't fractionalize the flares. It's like some people will get lucky and some people will be unlucky. Is the only way to do that. And kind of has the same issue as the burn, anyways. Because it's like you're giving away other people's assets, giving them away, burning them, basically same thing from their perspective. So, so yeah, that's basically how we're thinking about it right now. Like if we burn them, that feels good, obviously, because then you know for sure that like those flares are gone forever, and that certainty feels good. But also, it's like risky, obviously, for the reasons I explained. On the other hand, even if we don't burn them, there's still going to be a bunch that never get claimed. It's just that we don't know that number. But we still benefit from it, assuming like an eventual redemption. Those will never get claimed and won't get redeemed, and then we can take their VE Lifinity and distribute it. So it doesn't feel as good because we don't know that number, but we can know that it's very likely that there is some number of flares that will never get claimed. So yeah, I'd say for now, anyways, just do nothing. Even after we take down the site, just let it be for the time being. And yeah, if flare holders begin to want some type of redemption, then we can start to consider that, I think. So yeah, that's kind of my stance on it, anyways. Maybe other people have other ideas too. I don't know, but yeah, open to ideas for sure. Anybody going to breakpoint? Our team will be heads down building. Bullish teams not going to breakpoint. Maybe. Although I will say, for Project S, partnerships will likely be pretty important. They may play a larger role than they do with Lifinity. Although probably most of what we do will be we'll be able to do it permissionlessly without having to get like some kind of approval or some kind of action from other protocols. But I'm sure they'll all be very happy to be integrated with us. Basically, only upside for them, other than like smart contract risk. Like if people put their assets into our protocol, then we get hacked. That would not be awesome for them. But yeah, that's about it in terms of downside. Otherwise, Project S will just provide additional utility for assets of other protocols. I guess that's kind of a hint. Elon says, are we likely to see Project S before the end of the year? Sorry, came on late if you already said. Yeah, so I mentioned earlier that Um, I'm not 100% sure on this, but I think, for example, it's possible that we see the very first iteration on testnet within a month. Um, let's see. So before the end of the year, yeah, if like we get it on testnet and then it's like not many issues, um, yeah, it's possible we put it on mainnet by the end of the year. Although it will be a like a gradual launch. I have mentioned before that it will be able to use our idle assets. So that's likely what we'll start with rather than like opening up to the public. Um, and yeah, we'll start with like smaller TVL and gradually increase it over time type of thing. So it'll be like a staged release. But yeah, the beginnings of that by the end of the year is not guaranteed, but possible. Good to see you, by the way. I guess I don't think I've seen you around too much, Kaylon. Stupa, what's up? I don't think I know you. I don't think I've seen you around much. Smidden's always around, my fellow GMer on the daily. Kaylin says I'm a lurker. I don't chat much being an Aussie. I'm not on this late usually. I see. Hey man, I'm in Japan, so we're basically the same time zone. Or maybe you're a Aussie ethnically, but you live somewhere else. I don't know. Anything else you guys are curious about? See Ezekiel on the Twitter Spaces. Let me know if you have a question too. It's been like years or a year or so since we had a speaker, not me, on Twitter. I think the last one was Lieutenant Lollipop back when he was around a lot more. Oops, Ezekiel disappeared. I think I scared him away. Thanks for the question, Kaylon. You too. Have a good one. Well, I guess we have a relatively quiet AMA this week. I guess I can wait one more minute, see if anyone has any other questions. I guess most people are focused on Breakpoint, I guess. Sure, it's going to be a busy week. Tons of new information in the Solana ecosystem. Should be exciting. New tokens launching. New partnerships. Fire Dancer news. Also Tiny Dancer. Drip said they had an announcement. Haven't heard from Tensor in a while. Wonder what they've been up to. Yeah, I guess we'll find out. Hopefully, more volatility incoming. Although, if things are anything like last year, that'll mean volatility to the downside post breakpoint. We'll have to see. All right. Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate y'all being here, and thanks for your questions. Always happy to answer other questions in the chat if you think of them later. And hope you all have a good week. Peace out.